First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
I'm Andy Fox at 2nd Street in Brambleton. Light rail train just went by. The first collision took place here this morning. I'll have that story coming up. And
we're in the Great Dismal Swamp on the front lines of the fire. We'll let you know what's going on coming up.
Plus, an attempted robbery.
The gentleman was waiting back behind the building, which went to unlock the door. He came running up.
What likely saved a worker's life when the suspect fired shots. But first, this just into the WAVY newsroom. 10 on your side learned that little girl Gloucester County deputies found in a makeshift cage is out of the hospital.
She's now living with the family outside of Hampton Roads. Deputies wouldn't say exactly when doctors released her from CHKD, but did mention she is still recovering. Deputies found her in that makeshift cage, naked and covered in her own waste, in April. They also found the body of another child buried near the home. Shannon and Brian Gore face several charges in this case, including murder. The Tide launches next week, and police are already investigating its first accident. Police are calling today's crash a hit and run. A car clipped the Tide train around 7:30 this morning.
That's at 2nd Street in Brambleton, and that's where we find 10 on your side's Andy Fox, who's there now. What's going on, Andy?
Tom, this is the intersection here at Brambleton and 2nd. You have the red light right up here. You have a warning light over here on the right. And you also have stop here in red. So it's very well marked. And yet, as we've been reporting, that's going to be the great dynamic when light rail starts running with passengers, these collisions with cars. It happened today, and you can rest assured it'll happen again. This is the damaged train HRT doesn't want you to see, but we got video anyway of workers fixing the front left quarter where the train got hit. The plastic piece that's missing you can see here on the front left quarter of this train. Henry Mintz, working nearby, heard the crash.
He got out of his car, he walked around to the front of it, he looked at the damage, he got back in his car, he made a U-turn and went down Woodard Street and left the scene.
HRT has no comment due to the investigation except this reminder.
It's really important that folks obey the signs and signals that are out there. If you have a red light, it's really important that as an automobile driver, you make sure you don't run a red light.
Seems common sense, but it happened for the first time, and Light Rail still is preparing for the first paying customers. Back at the Light Rail garage, we were made by the workers looking at us, who then put down the garage door so we couldn't shoot any more video.
I could tell that he was agitated though, because when he got out of his car, he slammed it up in park and it jerked and rocked.
Police are still looking for the hit and run driver, but Mintz got a real good look at him.
He's tall, he's thin, he's an older gentleman, he's got like a mullet haircut, long white hair, he wears glasses, and he had on one of those English style golfing hats.
Now, if you know anything about this case, call the crime line, 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP. Now, coming up tonight on WAVY News 10 at 6, this is the light rail track here. The drivers are supposed to give fair warning at 300 feet and 100 feet. 10 on your side puts them to the test. Do they actually do that? We'll have that part of the story coming up tonight on WAVY News 10 at 6. I'm Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
All right, Andy, we'll see you then. You'll find 10 on your side's coverage of the Tide on WAVY.com under today's story. You'll also find the history of light rail, safety tips, and a link to the website.
Another major story of the day, a fire that hungers for fuel. It's already swallowed 5,700 acres, and this is a new look at the Dismal Swamp in Suffolk. The flames are now coming into North Carolina. Our crew was pretty close to the fire line today. We have team coverage from Suffolk and the WAVY Weather Center. We begin now with Surrey Crow. Surrey.
You know, the battle to fight this blaze is not going as well as crews had expected. And while the acreage isn't huge by fire burning standards, there are some structures within several miles of the fire. And that's why this fire is getting the highest level of attention.
Of course, safety for the public and the firefighters are number one goal.
And with that in mind, 150 firefighters are tackling the out-of-control burn in the Great Dismal Swamp. With close to 6,000 acres burning, the fire is now considered a Type 1 incident. In other words, it poses a potential threat to surrounding neighborhoods. The big problem is the peat. The swamp is full of it, and peat burns both underground and above.
One of the issues we've got here is this peat. And one of the unique things about fighting fires in swamps is you've got years and years of organic matter that's accumulated and forms peat.
Trying to take advantage of favorable winds today, crews were hard at work on the front lines. We could only get so close, but it was close enough. You can see how smoky it is back here. The fire is very close, about 50 yards from where I'm standing. Fire crews are taking advantage of the refuge's 3,100-acre Lake Drummond, using powerful pumps and choppers to transport gallons and gallons of water in an effort to douse the blaze.
We've got a big water pumping operation in front of us, and more than likely we'll pump billions of gallons of water on this thing before it's completely knocked out.
Crews have built fire lines like these in an effort to contain the fire and prevent it from spreading any further. Now behind me you can see the huge plumes of smoke. That's what we've all been smelling over the last several days. And you know, right here at the Suffolk Airport is where the helicopters are landing and refueling. They're playing a huge role in battling this blaze. We'll have more on that story coming up at 5:30. Live in Suffolk, Surrey Crow, 10 on your side.
Might take a lot more water, too, to get this thing under control. And the smoke is in the air and maybe inside your home, depending where you are. Where will the wind send it next? For that, we go to Chief Meteorologist Don Slater in the Super Doppler 10 Weather Center. Inside the building, we can smell it. Outside, we don't. It just seems to pick and choose where it wants to go, right?
Well, no, it's not that. It's just the fact that inside the building, it's caught in the fabric, any kind of drapery, any kind of carpeting, your car's seats. Again, that smoke is still caught in there from last night, even in the Hampton Roads area, North Carolina, certainly getting it for today. You can see that stream of smoke dropping southward on northeasterly winds this morning. Then it becomes a little bit obscured by cloud cover. Now, 9 o'clock this evening, a light northeasterly wind flow into the area, becoming more easterly overnight, and that'll hang tough through the day tomorrow. East to northeasterly wind, and finally becoming more southeasterly. We could see a little bit of smoke into the Hampton Roads area Friday night, but then returning to more of an easterly breeze, blowing the smoke westward toward the Franklin and Suffolk area coming up by later in the day on Saturday. So North Carolina, you're getting it now. You're going to continue to get it tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow, and then I think it'll spread westward toward the Franklin area. We'll talk about that and our forecast into the weekend in just a few minutes.
And 10 on your side, viewers have submitted more than 100 photos of this smoke, and some of them quite colorful. They did submit those to Reported at WAVY.com and Facebook, and we have them on a slideshow on WAVY.com.
Today, the Pentagon officially released the names of all 30 American troops killed in the deadliest single mission of the Afghan war. They include 15 Navy SEALs from Little Creek. 10 on your side already told you who they were because we talked to their loved ones. Special Operations Command wanted to withhold those names because of security concerns, but the Department of Defense kept Pentagon policy of releasing names. You'll find the names, pictures, and a tribute to the fallen heroes on WAVY.com. Funeral services were held this afternoon at Atlantic Shores Baptist Church in Virginia Beach for one of the local SEALs killed. 35-year-old Chief Petty Officer Kevin Houston was a native of West Hyannisport, Massachusetts on Cape Cod. He earned several military honors, including the Purple Heart and 2 Bronze Stars. We are getting our first look at the wreckage of the helicopter shot down in Afghanistan. Video from the Associated Press shows a crater at the crash site and parts of the helicopter stuck in mud. You could also see some sort of weapon there. U.S. commanders say they killed the Taliban fighters who took down the Chinook helicopter. Governor Bob McDonnell declared tomorrow a day of mourning for the local SEALs killed in Afghanistan. All state flags will fly at half-staff. The governor also encourages Virginians to make donations to the Navy SEAL Foundation.
Well, this seems an accurate metaphor for the stock market these days. A super ball with a lot of spin. Today, that ball bounced high off yesterday's plunge. Here is a look at the final numbers. Now we're going to go green. The Dow Jones Industrials closed up 422 points, nearly 4%. The NASDAQ and S&P both up 4.5%. Some major moves today, and this continues the most volatile week of trading since the financial crisis of 2008. Once again, investors took in mixed messages. Weekly unemployment claims dropped slightly, and word that France and Germany are meeting next week gave stocks that bounce for now.
I think Americans are looking at Washington and looking at Europe and saying, does anyone really know what's going on? Do these people know what they're doing? And that's leading to the volatility.
And rather than call Congress back from vacation, President Obama says he'd rather let lawmakers stay home and get an earful from angry voters.
I'm inside the K-MAX helicopter brought in special to fight the Dismal swamp fires. We'll talk to the pilot coming up.
A terrifying morning at a local check cashing business. Police say a would-be robber fired his gun. The manager tells us why it all didn't end differently.
Backpacks are an essential back-to-school supply, but they can be a real pain. We're on your side with how much your child should be carrying around.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Shad, Nicole Libus, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
As students get ready to head back to school, doctors are warning about back pain that may be caused by their backpacks.
It's important to choose the right backpack, but it's also more important to choose what's in the backpack.
Doctors say a child's backpack should not weigh more than 10 to 15% of their weight. So if your child weighs 100 pounds, the backpack should not weigh more than 15 pounds.
Operation School Supplies is underway. 10 on Your Side is collecting items for needy children to be distributed to local schools. You can drop off your donations at any Langley Federal Credit Union, Priority Automotive, or Office Depot. Just look for the Operation School Supplies collection boxes. And tomorrow morning you can bring your supply donations to the Office Depot on Mercury Boulevard in Hampton. That smiling face there, Don Roberts. He'll be there to help you, and you can help him stuff the bus.
Stopping the mail in a historic town when the local post office is closing next.
And a close call at a Norfolk business when shots are fired.
And if he hadn't shot that dog, she'd have been dead right now.
We'll hear what else that dog did that likely saved the worker's life. Most of us have a morning routine, right? One that may stir little interest among others. Well, that was not the case for a woman in Norfolk who was at the center of an attempted robbery where shots rang out. Then on Your Side's Walter Hildebrand sets the scene from Virginia Beach Boulevard.
It was a total surprise. He was watching. He was watching her moves every day.
Penny Wilson's sister Robin was following her usual routine, shortly before 9, getting ready to open this check cashing and more store on Virginia Beach Boulevard. Still too shaken to talk, Penny told 10 on Your Side what happened.
She came in this morning, like she does every morning. The gentleman was waiting back behind the building. When she went to unlock the door, he came running up. She had her dog with her.
Robin didn't see the man with a mask on, but her dog Casey spotted him right away.
The dog alerted her that he was there, and he turned and shot at the dog, and she went in and locked the door.
She called 911, and police came quickly. Forensics officers gathered evidence and told Wilson that the attacker may not have been a stranger to the business.
She said it could be anybody who walks in here, it could be any customer of hers, and he probably frequents the place.
This is Casey. This is my sister's Hero.
Hero is right, because customer or not, Wilson doesn't like to think what might have happened had Casey not been there.
He was waiting for her to come in, and if the dog hadn't alerted her that he was there, it was a matter of seconds. And if he hadn't shot that dog, she'd have been dead right now, because he was determined that he was going to rob her, and I don't know what would happen if he got inside with her.
With everyone safe and sound, Wilson says the old morning routine will get a change.
Now my husband's going to come in every morning with her, make sure she's taken care of, so she won't be alone anymore.
In Norfolk, Walter Hildebrand, 10 on Your Side.
Wilson also said they will beef up security and install video cameras outside the store. You should call police if you have any information about this attempted robbery.
The Craddock Post Office is closing its doors. The post office on Prospect Parkway in Portsmouth will shut down September 2nd. A Postal Service spokesperson told 10 on Your Side no one lost their job. The people who work here come from other post offices. Closing the Craddock Post Office has been in the works since 2009. That plan was recently finalized.
It's going to be a very big inconvenience for people to get back and forth. Like me, for instance, I just stay up the street, and it takes about 5 minutes to get here, take care of what I have to do, and off I'm gone.
A postal spokesperson says there are 12 other postal facilities within 5 miles. Customers can have their post office boxes moved to the Portsmouth main office or have free home delivery.
Now, in high definition, your Super Dapper 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
North Carolina got the smoke for today, obviously, throughout the area with that north to northeasterly wind flow into the area. I want to show you what's going on. Super Dapper 10 Live. We have seen some cloudiness off and on during the day today. However, most of that is gone right now into Virginia anyway. Here's a look at what's going on. There's the good news. Pleasant temperatures going to be in the 80s instead of the 90s over the next several days. Really, the next 7 days. There's some of the cloud cover that we've got into the air. Some fairly hefty rain going on into western Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. But for us, no rainfall and this visible satellite image, so it starts to fade away a little bit as the sun gets lower. But you can see again that streak of smoke right through here, dropping southward toward the Edenton area during the earlier part of the day tonight, or right now. It's a little bit more variable in where it's moving. It can kind of flop around and kind of wave around. It's kind of filmy and feathery. So again, it is still out there, and that smoke is not, that fire is not going anywhere. But where's the smoke going to? Here's a look at what's going on at 9 o'clock this evening. Remember that the fire emanates right there. So again, with a northeasterly wind flow at 5 to 10, it's going to drift on down through the Ahoskie area, for example. There's where things are by tomorrow morning at 7. More of an east-southeasterly wind. It'll kind of flop around a bit out of the east. So it's going to go right along the Virginia-North Carolina border during much of the day coming up for tomorrow. Rainfall? Nah, not real likely. We've been kind of watching this, and it's been kind of fizzling out. With each forecast run, it tends to stay to our west or to our southwest during the day on Friday. There's where we are by the end of the day Friday. Some cloud cover, yes, an easterly breeze becoming more west-southwesterly. It kind of flip around a little bit overnight on Friday night. So that means really some smoke could even drift northwards coming up on Friday night. And then Saturday during the day, we'll see that wind quickly flip back over to more of an easterly direction. There's where things are by the noon hour, and then southeasterly coming up to end the day. So again, that'll blow smoke from right here. Where are we? Yeah, right into here, and it'll blow it northwestward on up toward Suffolk and into Isle of Wight County. So the smoke is going to flop around quite a bit. That fire is going to be there. There's no question about that. So I think everybody's going to get it, but mainly North Carolina and then westward along the Virginia-North Carolina state line. Here's where we are tomorrow. We're at 85, 87 degrees, and right now through the area, we've got clear to partly cloudy skies. Temperatures 84, 85. We had a high today in Norfolk of 85. A lot more sunshine right now through the area than we've had earlier in the day. 88 right now into Suffolk. So again, some inland areas have warmed up a bit more than that. But most of us in the 85, 86 degree range during the day today. Overnight, we drop on down to around 70. A little more cloud cover toward dawn. During the day for tomorrow, it'll likely be around 86. Off and on clouds during the day. Saturday, 87. Good chance of rain coming up on Sunday and into early Monday. So far, it looks like around 3/4 of an inch to around an inch of rain into the area.
Lady Liberty, well, she's getting some work done. I'll tell you why the landmark is closing for a year.
Workers cutting up a downed tree found pieces of history. See what they discovered from the Civil War next.
A city commission looks at a plan to dredge sludge as homeowners voice concerns. The story's coming up.
A famous lady is getting a facelift, and it will take 1 year to get the job done. The Statue of Liberty will close to the public at the end of October so crews can make improvements to her interior. The renovations will cost more than $27 million and make the landmark safer and more accessible to visitors. There will be upgraded restrooms and improved fire suppression systems and elevators. Liberty Island will remain open during the construction, and you'll be able to see the statue. Are you ready for some football?
What a silly question that is. Well, New Orleans is ready. The Superdome is ready, too. City officials there are calling it a brand new stadium. Now that the final batch of $336 million in renovations are done.
The improvements include more seats and better concourses, restrooms, and scoreboards. The post-Katrina improvements were finished just in time because the NFL kicks off its preseason schedule tonight.
You smell the fresh paint. Some Pennsylvania workers found a bit of Civil War history in a most unlikely place. They found what they believe to be bullets from the Battle of Gettysburg inside a tree. A maintenance crew at Gettysburg National Military Park removing that fallen oak made the discovery. The tree sections with the bullets will be added to the collections at the museum there. Fascinating. Are those bogus bills in your wallet? That's right. 10 on your side will show you how to tell the difference between real and counterfeit cash.
Disfigured after a brutal chimpanzee attack, doctors gave one woman a new face. Coming up at 5:30, see the transformation of a historic face transplant operation.
So then you're going to say, well, Tom, why don't you remember to go to the right rundown?
Yeah, Tom. Why don't
Funny money is no laughing matter. There's still a lot of counterfeit cash out there.
If you were to pick it up, I think the very first thing you would feel is the paper and know that something was not right. This paper doesn't feel like my genuine currency does.
Well, we're on your side with the other things to look for, like the red and blue security fibers. You'll need a magnifying glass to really see these. And the presidential portrait, well, it should be detailed. The phony bills, if you look close enough, they lack definition. Legit money will have a watermark and a polyurethane strip embedded into the bill. The fake ones will not. And one last test, look for that color shifting ink in the bottom right-hand corner. It should turn from gold to a darker color. There's also a pen that you can buy for about $3. When you mark the money, the light coloring means it is a good bill. There you go. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.